If you're planning to move to Bali, I will give you all the information you need in this video, and watch until the end to avoid any mistakes and be fully prepared for your trip. Before I go to the details, I want to quickly talk about the budget or income you need to stay here monthly. So what I spend usually is around $1,500 to $2,000 per month, and with that I can basically live my dream lifestyle without really worrying about spending money. And you can definitely stay here much cheaper than that. Like I stay in quite nice guest house, I have really nice scooter, I eat in Western cafes all the time, in the vegan cafes, so that's way more expensive than the local ones. I do paddle a lot, I go to a nice gym, so if you just go to a local gym, don't play paddle so much, maybe go more surfing and go to the beach. So basically if you have a cheaper scooter, you eat more in the local cafes but still sometimes in Western. And also for the guest house, you can basically have a place even for $200 per month if you go to a more local place, but even like 400, 500 you can find something nice. So I would say that you can definitely live pretty nice lifestyle here for under $1,000 per month. But if you want to get more close to like 500 per month, that's possible, but then it's not going to be as nice. But of course it depends what you enjoy. So let's start with the planning of the trip, and the first thing you need to figure out is the visa. So basically nowadays it's super easy to take just e-visa, so if you are up to 2 months and the price is quite affordable, you just need to apply for it online. I leave the link in the description and also on screen. And your passport needs to be valid more than 6 months after the trip, and also you need to have an onboard ticket, so basically flight to anywhere outside of Indonesia within the time limit of your visa. They haven't really asked for the onward ticket lately when I arrived to Indonesia, but yeah, I think it's good to have always, and you can also use the website onward ticket if you don't actually still know where you're flying next and you don't have the flight yet when you arriving to the country. And if you want to stay longer, up to 6 months, you can also apply for business visa from visa agency, for example Bali Solve. That's the agency I used all these years when I arrived here first and used business visas. They're really reliable, and you can easily contact them on WhatsApp and ask about the visa prices and how the process goes and everything, and see what's the best option for you. And you can even stay much longer after the business visa if you apply for Kitas, that is valid for up to 2 years, and currently that's pretty much all the options for the visas. But yeah, the e-visa is really nice option nowadays because 2 months you can stay, everything is done online, and once you apply you get the visa basically immediately, so it doesn't take a long time, and then you just come here and you extend online when you have arrived to the country. Super easy, super simple, and you can even just leave the country, travel somewhere else a little bit, and then come back with new e-visa if you want to stay a little bit longer in Indonesia. So I would recommend that if you are not staying super long here. But yeah, the second thing I would recommend to check immediately is your vaccines, because there might be some basic ones you need booster for. And the last few summers when I visit home, I realized there's actually some vaccines that are also recommended if you stay long term, especially in more like countryside areas. So if you travel a lot and be in smaller places here, I would recommend taking those. And the next thing I want to remind you of is health insurance. It's super important to have a good health insurance when you come here, because the hospitals here are quite expensive and it can be hard to get good treatment if you don't have health insurance. And also there's a lot that can happen here. Unfortunately, it happens a lot to my friends and people I know that they need to go to hospital for various reasons, scooter accidents or just some kind of illness from food or animals. So yeah, I've been using Safety Wing and it has been super good. I recommend that. I have a link in the description for that also. And when it's time to book for your flights, it's super easy now. There's so many international flights coming to Bali. For example, Qatar has been offering good prices for flights to Bali recently, so I would check that also. And what about accommodation when you're coming to Bali? I always recommend that it would be the best option if you can actually stay here a little bit in one place and then check in person different places. You can actually get cheaper prices also when you book in person, and also just to see that the air is good and everything is good in the guest house. There's also a lot of construction in Bali, especially in Canggu area, so sometimes even if the place is nice but there's big construction next door, it can be quite annoying and loud. So the best option would be to check in person, but also maybe at least for the first one it can be better to just book in advance for a month, because sometimes the places are super fully booked, so it can be hard to find something that is available if you just come here for a few nights and trying to look for a place. And especially when you come for the first time to Bali, I really recommend staying in a guest house, because then there's some people you can super easily meet from your guest house and do things together. That's the easiest way to really connect and get more close to people while you're here, because you're basically living in the same place and seeing each other all the time. One thing I also want you to be prepared for is that it's not always easy to move to a new country and start a new life, and that's why BetterHelp is sponsoring this video, so you can be fully ready for the move and have support with everything while you're new here. It was quite a difficult time for me actually when I moved to Bali, because it was my dream for so long, and when I finally arrived here I thought everything would be perfect and I would be so happy, but I didn't have stable income, I didn't have any good friends here because I just moved here. Obviously all my good friends were back home. I was struggling every day, every week, but talking to a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give unbiased helpful advice was a game changer. So I was finally able to feel more peace and certainty about my life, and my day-to-day life improved so much. So I really couldn't recommend BetterHelp more, and what I love about it also is that it's online, so you can do it anywhere you are in the world, and it's also more affordable than the traditional option. And one of my favorite features of BetterHelp is that you can easily change your therapist anytime, so you can find who is the best match for you. Over 4 million people have already used BetterHelp to start living healthier and happier life. So if you think you might benefit from therapy, check out BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/hogs. Using that link helps you support this channel and also gives you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. But now back to the video. And when you're thinking about the areas to stay, of course there's these like big areas like Canggu, Uluwatu, Ubud. Canggu is more like a city, there's million options. Most people stay here. It's like the most big like digital nomad hub, and there's a lot of people. There's so many activities, so many cafes, so many gyms, so many, fitness is super good here, and surfing and everything. So basically this is my favorite place to stay long term because there's just so much of everything, it never gets boring. And Uluwatu is more like a surf town vibe. It's quieter, it's smaller, so it's a little bit nicer if you like more that kind of vibe. And also the surf is really good there. The beaches are way nicer than in Canggu, but the problem is that there's not so many good options for accommodation, there's not so many cafes and everything. So if you long term, then it can get a little bit boring, and not so many people actually like to stay in Uluwatu for those reasons. And Ubud is more like jungle vibes. There's no ocean, and there's more like spiritual people who do a lot of yoga and spiritual things. There's not so many people I know that love to stay in Ubud, but some people like to stay there for a little bit longer sometimes to just like find their peace basically and just focus on work or something and have a little bit different vibe. But let's say you decide to stay in Canggu. What area is the best here? I would recommend this Pereranan area where I stay. It's super nice because it's close to Canggu center. It's nice with scooter, it only takes a few minutes to all the cafes and everything in Canggu. And this area is nowadays super lively also. There's many cafes, there's nice gyms here, there's paddle, there's everything. But it's also close to the rice fields, so there's like big rice field area close by, and there's Sese, where it's like really nice like a beach bar that is super chill, and it's more like the proper island vibes, and all the rice fields is nice for running and everything. Is also close to the beach. There's nice beach for swimming, surfing, and just chilling. So I feel like this area is pretty much the best one here because it's more quiet than staying in Canggu or all those busy areas like in Berava or something. It's super busy, and it's also nice here. The traffic is not too crazy in this area, but it's still close to pretty much everything. I never need to go to somewhere where the traffic is bad, and many people complain about the traffic when they move to Bali, but if you stay in this kind of good area, then it's not really a problem. And you can check my Bali guide for more in detail explanation of the different areas here, and there's also so many recommendations for places to stay and Airbnbs and how to find the best places here, so I recommend checking that. But for example, one place here in this area where I stay is Sehuli, where I lived in the beginning when I moved to Bali, and that was so good decision. Back then it was very cheap also because it was pandemic times, but it's just the best place to meet people because there's always like-minded people there, and the stuff is super nice there. So I felt more home there than I have felt in any other place when I live in Bali. Prices went up a lot since Bali opened up, but I think there's still nice options for every budget here basically if you book in advance. And if you're thinking about the weather and what is the best time to come to Bali, I've made some videos about it, but basically the best weather is anywhere from May to September, but usually also like October, November, even December and April are still quite good. And even during the rain season it's usually quite nice to still be here. There's sunny days. During most days in the coastal areas there's still a lot of sun, and the rain is usually just in the afternoon or in the evening. But I usually don't like to be here during January and February and March when it's the worst time for the weather, because then it's more often a little bit rainy and it's hard to go around, and sometimes it just surprises you, so that's not optimal, but it's still okay. And of course, if you want to avoid the crazy crowds, don't come here during the major holidays like Christmas and New Year's, and also during summer like July, August, September. It's quite busy here, but in my opinion it's usually still okay. And the next thing you need to book is a scooter. It's very easy in Bali. They have all the options. I have PCX, it's my favorite of them all. So there's also, of course, you can just have Scoop, it's the cheapest one, and Vario and NMAX and everything. There's so many options. But yeah, if you can afford it, I recommend the PCX. It's super nice. It's the most nicest bike I have tried. I pretty much tried them all. But yeah, there's many options and it's very easy to book on WhatsApp. I can link here one of the numbers, the one I'm renting now, and also in my Bali guide there's many other contacts for it. But yeah, basically you just ask them like what are the prices for different scooters and when you want to book it, and they will deliver it straight to your villa when you arrive. So it's super easy. When you arrive you can immediately just go around, have a dinner or whatever, because you have your scooter already and you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, you don't necessarily need a scooter because you can also use GoCheck. You can have the GoCheck scooter rides basically super affordably here, and it's easy and simple. So you can also do that, but it's of course way nicer to have your own scooter, so you have the full freedom to always just go anywhere without always booking a ride. And basically you need an international driving license to drive in Indonesia, but 2.5 years, and only once I was asked about it, and even that was like over 2 years ago, so I don't think there's much stress about that if you don't have it. And what about packing? I would say that one thing to remember is that it can be quite cold when you get used to the heat in the evening and early in the morning, so take some warm clothes also, even if it's very hot here generally. But yeah, it can feel cold sometimes, and also when you travel to the volcanoes or everything, it can be very cold up there. And of course all the pharmacy things and medicine and everything, you should have enough of them, but also here the pharmacies are good. You can even order medicine on Tokopedia, you can get a little bit cheaper price, so it's not really a problem, but of course it's better to have enough of everything you need when you come here. And there's good shopping in Bali and good big malls, so you don't really need to worry about too much of like forgetting to take something, or if something breaks you can get everything. You can get a new phone, computer, camera, anything here, so it's not really a problem. And the last few things you should do before you come here is to download and log in to Grab app, because then it's super easy to take a taxi from that when you arrive. And also for the customs declaration nowadays there's QR code, you can do it online before your trip, so do that beforehand, because then it makes it much easier in the airport when you have arrived. Makasih. The acai bowl is looking good. It's actually a new cafe here close where I'm staying. I'm trying for the first time. We'll see. It's pretty good. It's nice, there's always new cafes in Bali. Next thing to prepare for is the arriving to the airport in Bali. Basically at the airport the first stop for you is the big immigration hall where you can buy your visa on arrival, but if you already have the e-visa then it's easy, you just go past it to the passport control, and then there's sometimes a specific spot for e-visa, so you can maybe get a little bit faster. And I would go as fast as possible to the line of the passport control, because sometimes the line is super long and it takes forever. Last time I came it was actually super quick, because I went to the last one and there was almost no one there. And they always ask how long you're gonna stay in Indonesia, and sometimes they ask for you for the ticket. But other than that, there's not much to it. So then you go past that, and then the next spot is to get your luggage. And just be prepared, it might take a while. The last few times I or my friends have come to Bali recently, it has taken quite a long time for the luggage to come. I think it's too busy airport now. And after that, when you have your QR code for the customs declaration, then you go that checkpoint also. It's super easy, you just go, and then you are free to do whatever you want. But the first thing when you come through that, there's on the left side there's some ATMs, so get some cash there, and then the next spot is where you can get your SIM card. So I really recommend getting the Telkomsel SIM card when you arrive on the airport, because it's super easy, and then you have internet if you book the Grab or anything. Like anyway, it's super nice to have the SIM card here while you're traveling or living in Bali, because everything is super easy then, and it's quite affordable to get it there and easy and quick. But yeah, after that you basically just go outside of the airport. There's Grab pickup point, so you can basically book a Grab and they pick up you there, or I think you can even in person from the Grab lounge book the ride to your hotel. So super easy and simple. And if you have the e-visa and you're staying more than 30 days but less than 60 days, then I would recommend doing the extension immediately when you arrive to Bali or the next day, or just make sure to remember to do it, because it can take a while for you to get approved for that, and if you overstay it's a really bad thing here. So just make sure that you do the extension on time. Came to the beach for the sunset. It's looking good as always in Bali. But yeah, basically the next thing is to just get settled, enjoy the sunsets every day, and enjoy good food every day. And in the beginning, wherever you stay, it's gonna be easy to find a laundry close by and get settled with everything. Like it's really easy here to find supermarket and pharmacy and everything. So no worries about that. Oh yeah, and one thing is also using melatonin. I really recommend. From the travel day to 5 days later, you take every evening 1 hour before you wanna sleep here in Bali time melatonin, and it really reduced the jet lag and all the problems with that so much. I've been doing it for the last few times and it's really a game changer. And don't worry about making friends when you're here. You will see how easy it is to meet people in all the activities, paddle, yoga, like there's so many like-minded people in the cafes. Also, you easily end up meeting people, and of course you can join Facebook groups and different communities to be able to meet even more people, but also just in the guest house also and around. You will meet people here. Everybody are super open to getting to know each other. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will answer to all the comments, and thanks for watching. See you next week.